those who want to stay, you're most welcome if the subject is interesting for you. My name is Ali Reza Kazal, the CEO of the French company Zarkimia, and I'm happy to be here today to talk about a subject which surely and mostly would interest the brand owners. So I wish that more brand owners were attending this workshop, but it's okay because I know everybody has got meetings and it's the first day and it's complicated. And I know that this workshop is being filmed, so I presume that they will watch it later on, so it's okay. Before starting the workshop, I would like to explain why there was a slight change of plans for my presentation, because as you can see, I was supposed to have 3 guests here to talk about the subject I'm going to talk about. But then at the last minute, I changed my mind because I thought that these 3 gentlemen that I had invited, one of them is sitting there, are, besides being brand owners and taking care of brands and so on, they are close friends. So I thought having 3 friends as guests to confirm what I'm going to say wasn't going to be that much fun. So it's better if I do it alone. And of course, then afterwards, if there are questions, we can ask our dear friend Olivier, who's here, to tell us his thoughts about what I'm going to say. But the subject is quite interesting by itself. So as you can see, I'm asking a question, and a question about a country which has always been very enigmatic to everybody, because it's a great country with lots of power and lots of great things, but at the same time, it's a difficult market when we talk about our business. So, and it's most of the time one of the biggest questions in the minds of the brands I've been working with for 24 years now. Business-wise, is one of the greatest markets of the world for the beauty section that I'm talking, and especially for fragrances, because Iranians have a great culture and a great history and great taste and so on and so on. I'm not saying this because I'm personally originally from Iran. I'm just saying that because I've been working on this country for long, long years, and even if I was French, I would have said the same thing. It's a great country where all the brands, especially niche brands, would like to be present. And because the potential is so great business-wise, artistic-wise, and so on. But there are always lots of issues that make this difficult. This presence on the market make it difficult. This is why I call this hurdle. We've got a lot of hurdles in the work we're doing on Iran and in Iran with the brands that I will develop for you here. What are these hurdles? But lately we've had one huge hurdle that came along, and we thought, oh gosh, I told myself, I have to change my job. I cannot work in perfumes anymore. And it appears that, and this is something I've learned from life in general, that whenever there are hurdles, if we think straight and if we think positive, there's always possibility of transforming hurdles into an opportunity or opportunities. And this is what I'm going to talk about today, because this hurdle I'm talking about, for the last 3 years we've been talking about it, but only for the market of Iran. But it appears that this hurdle, this one hurdle for Iran, actually can represent lots of opportunities for the brands, not only for Iran, but for the entire Middle East region, Russia and China, and so on and so on. And we're going to discover it together. So the equation is this one, is how can one hurdle represent many opportunities for a given brand? So let's move on. And let's first of all have an overview of what I just said about Iran, that how great this country is in general. It's a huge country, size-wise. It's got a population of over 85 million people, which is great. For business, if you compare it business-wise, it's great to have 85 million. And it's even better if you have more than 70%, which is between 15 and 65. So it's quite a population that we can target for our business. So that's great. And it's a rich country. It's the 7th producer of oil in the world. But again, as I said, we've got many contradictions for this country. We've got other problems. We've got political instability. We're under sanction. We're cut from the rest of the world, and the dramatic loss of value of the local currency is becoming a huge, huge problem. Okay? So again, as I was saying, lots of contradictions, but still makes it one of the best markets of the world that we want to be present on. So how to do that? Let's now look at this on from a side of view of the beauty market. Despite the appearances that the Islamic regime and everybody's veiled and so on, but we have great consumption of cosmetics, beauty, and everything. So these are figures from 2017-18, because I took the best years. Now it's less, unfortunately, due to these hurdles I'm talking about, but we can again achieve this. So why I'm talking about 2017-18 is because to say that the potential is there, just we have to take it. We just have to know how to go around these problems to make this happen. We're the 7th consumption of cosmetics, and this is recognized in the world, highly influenced by Western trends, which is great, again, for business. We have had a huge growth of artistic perfumery along these years, and it's a shame my fellow brand owners are not here to confirm it, but really they have witnessed all these like 15 last years I've been working with them, a huge growth and a lovely, lovely huge retail network. This afternoon I was talking with Montal and Mansera. They were saying in how many shops we are. I was saying in 120. They were saying, 120. Oh. I said you can even be in 200 if you want. You can even be in 2,000 if you want, but because we have 2,000 doors. But we always choose the best to remain niche and so on and so on. The niche for the Iranian market can be 200 doors because they have the potential. Anyway, so this greatness, let's see it on pictures just for the pleasure of the eyes. This is what I personally have managed to do on this market with my brands. These are the installations. Most of the brands in this picture I have worked with, going from Micallef to Roja and so on, Nasomato, Orto Parisi, and so on. These are the installations for Roja. You wouldn't imagine having that in Iran. I think that would be too difficult to imagine, but it exists. We've got great installation for Creed, great installation for Clyde Christian. So you see all European brands are there, even British brands are there. Everybody thinks the UK has an issue with Iran, but it's fine. Business-wise, we're doing very, very good. And the market looks great. I personally had the privilege of having a ceremony, a launch ceremony with Mr. Alessandro Gualtieri from Nasomato Orto Parisi. This is one of the greatest events we had in Tehran. You have a lady sleeping in a bed just because Alessandro wanted to make this scene. And it was a beautiful scene. And when people came into this installation, they were just, they couldn't believe they were in Tehran having such an installation to talk about a brand of perfume, which is very, very artistic. I mean, it was beautiful. It's like walking into a museum. I'm just showing you all this. This is all that has happened that we got here, and that I'm here to tell you that Iran is one of the best markets of the world. And I'm showing it to you with pictures. I can even show it to you with figures, but let's forget about figures today. We're just going to go for the main subject. Again, on the beauty market, contradictions come along, of course. Very, very tough importation regulations and unstable. They kept changing every day. Long registration process, which really discourages many brands. High custom duties and other taxes which come along. And important destination for gray market. Iran, unfortunately, due to these reasons and due to its great potential, ends up being where all the brands are directed to when they cannot sell on other markets. So again, it shows that the potential of Iran is there. So how come the gray market is so strong there? It becomes gray market because the regulations are difficult. But if it was legal, it wouldn't have been gray market. So along all these hurdles that I just mentioned, came up, as I told you, one huge hurdle that happened 4 years ago. And that huge hurdle is that the importation of finished products, we are going to talk fragrances here, but it also concerns cosmetics, was forbidden. Suddenly, our government said, you can no longer import finished products of fragrances, where all the work that you saw, I showed you in pictures, had already happened. So what to do? Take off all those installations and say goodbye to perfumes and so on. Well, before finding the solution, let's understand why the government decided that, because there's always a logic to all that. Instead of being the victim, let's understand why this has happened. This has happened because the country is under sanction, okay? So this means that the income of foreign currencies is no longer there. They can hardly sell their oil, for which they are the 7th producer of the world. So what to do? No more currencies. So the few currencies that are there are only dedicated to goods of first necessity, to medication, to milk for children, and some things like that. So obviously, perfume is not one of them. It's not a good of first necessity. So they said you cannot use the currencies that you have to bring perfumes. If you want to use the currencies you have, you can do it on medication and so on. So they decide for our companies where to spend our foreign currencies. So this is the explanation of why they stopped the importation of finished goods. They said, but if you want to work on perfumes, if you want to import perfumes, you can import the industry of perfumes. I said, yeah, importing the industry, that's a huge word. Why the industry? So we're going to see the logic as well behind this request, because bringing in a new industry to the country, this would mean creating jobs, so decreasing unemployment. This would mean generate custom duties, VAT, other taxes that would bring money to the government. This would mean increasing the GDP, of course, and this could even lead to generating incomes of foreign currencies in case this industry installed in Iran can bring in income from outside the country, okay? So these are all the logics that were behind this. So what we did to now overcome all this, when the rule was to import the industry, how did we manage to transform this hurdle into an opportunity? And I'm not going to say that I was the genius behind that and so on, because I just showed you the logic equation. So it was quite simple. If you want to continue working on perfumes, you have to do what they ask you to do. So I'm not saying this for me, I'm saying this for good friends such as Olivier, such as Geoffrey, who would have been here, such as Christiana, who would have been here, who trusted me with the solution that I proposed to them to overcome this hurdle, and who, it's only a question of trust what I'm going to expose for you here. And I truly here, in front of all of you, thank these friends and these brands to have trusted me to come forward and through this new solution be again, or be for the first time, present in Iran. And I'm sure that we're going to see the results business-wise, and everybody's going to be surprised, and they're going to say, ah, I wish I would have done that as well. So how the hurdle can be considered as an opportunity is that we decided to do what the government asked us to do. C'est-à-dire, I'm sorry, I switched to French suddenly. Meaning we decided to create a conditioning site locally in Iran. Conditioning site is just a small part of the perfume industry. We all know that here. But back home in Iran, they don't know that conditioning is just a small part of that industry. They think it's the industry. They are creating perfume, okay? So, but fair enough. It just helps me to overcome this hurdle. So I decided via my French company, who has been active in the field of niche perfumery for 20 years now, to use all that I have learned through good friends such as Olivier, such as Geoffrey, and so on, by working on the brands, by coming to this fair every year, by having friends as perfumers, as creators, and so on, to use that knowledge and to create a conditioning site which is directly linked to the French company that we have. So the French company is called Zarkimia, and Zarkimia, actually it's a word coming from Persian, because Zar means gold, and Kimia is the alchemist who transforms dust into gold and everything into gold. Actually, it's transforming nothing to everything. And so we created a branch of this company in Iran, which is called Pishandeshan Zarkimia, which is the conditioning site linked to this French company. So how does this work? This is the free zone where this conditioning site is based in Iran, near Tehran. We have done it near Tehran to make it easier to control, because most of the free zones of the country are located in the south or in the north or on an island, so you have to take the plane to go to your conditioning site. This conditioning site is located at 45 minutes drive from my office, so it is very easy for me to pop in and see if everything's going well. It's called a special economic zone, but it's considered as a free zone. So basically, it's not totally in Iran, it's somewhere near Iran. And we came up with this. This is the conditioning site of Pishandeshan Zarkimia, which today exists. Okay, it's a building, of course, you don't see what's going on inside, but I'm going to tell you what's going on inside, because it has been done, all of it has been done with the professionals I have managed to meet all these years by coming to Aix-en-Provence, by representing brands, and so on, and so on, and so on. It was built, we just got the land. We didn't have the building, we built the building. But we built it with French consultants who were active in the conditioning business for many, many generations. So basically, actually, we built all of this based on the European standards. Everything that is done in the conditioning sites that the brand owners know in Europe is applied there. And everything that is accepted by the sanitary system in Europe has been applied there, okay? So that any brand who wishes to be conditioned there knows that the conditioning is going to be done as per the European standards. All the material, equipment, everything has been brought from Europe, and the staff has been and is regularly trained by these professional consultants. Why all this fuss about making things European? Because we are dealing with European or, okay, some American brands, so we are dealing with European standards. So whatever had to be done there had to be based on the same standards. Otherwise, it would have been a very difficult decision to make, even though the great trust my friends had on me. But anyway, we cannot do business only on trust. Everything had to be professional. Why? Because actually for brand owners who decide to come this way, to be on this market, it had to make sense. They are actually handing over their babies to us, handing over their formulas, handing over their components, their small secrets about their brands. So we had to be professional. It couldn't be done any other way. Conditioning sites, we have a lot in Iran, but I can assure you, none of them respects what we respect here, because everything, when they come and see, they say, but you make yourself too tired of doing this. I say, no, this is how it has to be done. It cannot be done any other way. Okay, so just for the pleasure of the eyes, let's see one of the brands who actually authorized me to show that I am conditioning them, because that as well can be a secret. Maybe a brand doesn't want to say that these part of my products are conditioned somewhere else than it used to be. But Micallef authorized me to show this film, so I am going to show this film just for the pleasure of the eyes. Voila. Can you believe that this conditioning site is in Iran? I think nobody can guess that this is in Iran. But anyway, I'm very proud of this because it's a great jump that the team has done. And as you can see, everything is as per the standards that it has to be. But I'm even going to make it a bit easier and less frightening for the brand owners. Well, I can only see one here, but you can tell the others not to be that frightened, okay? Because, okay, this is a conditioning site where we are filling, crimping, and so on, and packing, and legally. Everything enables us to be legally present on the Iranian market, to do marketing, to do sales everywhere we want. No more restrictions or anything. But as I said, I have played it a bit smart here with the Iranian government, meaning that, okay, we are not totally doing the conditioning, because to be doing the conditioning, it would have meant totally mixing and making the juices locally, meaning just import the oil and mix it with alcohol and have the maceration and so on and so on and so on. So this, which is the most frightening part for the brand owners, especially for Marc-Antoine, for example. He's a perfumer. He doesn't like his perfumes to be played with. So this part, done. We today are authorized officially to import the juices already macerated. So we're not a full conditioner. We're partly conditioner because we're not doing the mixing. We're not doing the macerating and so on. We just follow the rules on how to keep and how to transform and how to fill the already macerated juices correctly into the bottles without the juices being harmed. So this is why the brands we have already conditioned in Iran, everybody says, it looks exactly and smells exactly like what I smelled in Dubai or like what I smelled in France. I say, yes, because it's the same thing. Everything's the same thing. The juice for the first thing is really the same thing because it already comes macerated. But all the other stuff as well is the same thing, because you saw here, we didn't do the decoration on the bottles of Micallef. They were done by Martin in Grasse. They are sent to us already decorated. So actually it's like sending, like we used to do before in Iran, sending Peugeot cars to Iran, but sending them as spare parts and then doing the assembly just on the spot. So it's the same system. We're just assembling things and we're not touching anything. We're not even adding a single point on any product, because that would mean going against the law, because that would mean touching the intellectual property of a brand. And for this, you can be sure that since I studied in France, I learned that very well, which is not the case of my fellow colleagues in Iran. Intellectual property in Iran, they don't really give an importance to that, but I give a lot of importance to that. So on these products that you saw from Micallef, nothing whatsoever has been changed. Nothing has been added, nothing has been taken off, nothing. It's exactly the same product that you find in Europe, but legally present on the market. So that's a good thing. So that's for the product itself. Then business-wise, I'm going to explain that I also try to make it very easy for the brands to integrate this system, because it's not easy going to a brand and saying, give me your child, I'm going to, but business-wise as well is not easy, because they were invoicing us finished products till now, and suddenly they have to invoice us caps and juices and automizers and so on. It was too difficult. So I keep the business model the same. Let's see what we have done. For the protection side, because brands, as I said, intellectual property needs to be protected at all times. So all agreements that this conditioning site has with its brands are signed with the French entity. By the way, Olivier, if you want, we can have that agreement. Marc-Antoine is a friend, so we didn't talk about agreement, but all the other brands, some of them, have an agreement with us, and it's signed with the French company, so that if ever, any day, if I'm not there and somebody else misuses your intellectual property, you can be protected by the French law. So the French company is exposed, not the Iranian entity. The Iranian entity is just executing the conditioning. That's it, okay? So protection-wise, all the brands are protected, okay? The business model has been made easy for you. It's exactly as if you were exporting finished products. Again, since I only have Olivier here with me, I ask all the time for your confirmation. You invoiced us finished products based on a coefficient which was applied to a retail price, and so on, as would do any other brand, okay? So he didn't invoice us caps and so on and so on. We are passing an order, regular order of finished products. He is invoicing us finished products. On my side, from the importation, at the importation moment, I break down that invoice he has given to me with my intermediate company, which is based in Oman or in Dubai. Why? Because there as well, for protection-wise, it's not easy for the brands to anyway invoice a company in Iran. We all know about all the sanctions and so on and so on. So again, we had to find a way for this hurdle. So we have set up a company in Oman. We have a company in Dubai, a partner company in Dubai. The brands invoice that company, and that company pays them there. So then between that company and us in Iran, we break down that invoice into caps, into automizers and so on. But the headache is not for the brand. The headache will take care of it ourselves. We break down that invoice ourselves. And the business, as I said, is based on the same coefficient and so on and so on and so on, but which is even maybe a bit more profitable for the brand, because this means the same coefficient, the same export prices and so on, while the brand at that time for that order doesn't have the conditioning fees to take care of, because the conditioning is being taken care of somewhere else. Now for you, maybe, Olivier, this doesn't really mean anything, because Marc-Antoine is himself doing the fragrances and so on and so on and so on. But there are some other brands for which it is now really representing something in their budget, because they say, okay, Ali's taking care of this part of the conditioning for this market, and I don't pay that. and I have the same coefficient. I'm invoicing the same prices, so it's very beneficial for them. And it's, of course, the opportunity to get more market shares in Iran because now the brand is legal. So all this system, which is made easy for the brands, benefits again because they can have a bigger business in Iran. Now, why am I saying that this hurdle can represent many opportunities? In the previous slide, I said opportunity. But in this one, I'm saying why am I saying many opportunities? Because if we think this through, maybe even this is why some brands are still not coming along in this new business model to be present in Iran, is because, okay, I'm going to do all this headache because there is, we have to admit it, I'm saying I made it easy for the brands. Yes, business-wise, invoicing-wise, I've made it easy, but packing-wise, the brand still gets a bit of headache because instead of packing finished products, they have to really send us caps separate, juice separate, atomizers separate. There is a headache, okay? So maybe some of the brands, they trust me, they want to work, they want to be in Iran, but they say, but this is too much of a hassle. For one single market, I have to change the way I pack my products, the way I pass my orders for components, the way I prepare my juices, and so on. So maybe for one market, it doesn't make sense to go through all this. So this is why I make it a bit more juicy for the brands, is that why talk only about one market? If this conditioning site has proven to be really producing fragrances and conditioning fragrances for you the easiest way possible and the riskless possible way, no change of perfumes, no risk of so on, so on, so on. So this means that the brands today have a conditioning site at their disposal in the Middle East. Maybe there are already some conditioning sites in the Middle East, but the brands didn't try them because there was this question of trust. Am I going to find the same quality? Are my products going to be the same, or so on and so on? But for Iran, this hurdle became an obligation. If I want to be in Iran, I have to go this way. So we went this way, and we discovered that, this conditioning site can do products for me the quality I want. So since it's doing the quality I want, and since it's located in a free zone, and since nowhere on the product it's going to be written that it's made in Iran, because the made in remains the same. For Parfums d'Empire, the made in remains France, because the made in is not a label related to the geographical place where the conditioning is done. The made in comes from where your components are coming from, okay? So the made in remains the same. Nobody will know, and nobody on its products puts conditioned in. So no brand puts conditioned. They all put made in France, and they don't put conditioned in Dubai. They put made in France, that's it. So the same, maybe one day, Olivier will tell me, okay, you're doing so many good products and so many with good quality. Can you also do me products and give me my stock in Dubai so that I invoice my clients in the Middle East, in Russia, in China, and in Far East, Xworks Dubai, instead of invoicing Xworks France? Invoicing Xworks France makes you grant them a bigger coefficient, so a smaller margin for you. But invoicing from Dubai will allow you to give them a smaller coefficient, because they will not have to come to you to say, I have a lot of transport to pay because the transportation is very expensive and so on, because you have the products right there by a hand, and you can send the products to them there, and you will gain in speed and so on, because from Iran to Dubai is 1.5 hour flight. I can hand you your stocks in Dubai, very easy. So this is where one opportunity becomes many opportunities of speed, of profitability, of many things. This is why I asked the brands, we'll go through these again together, conditioning site in the Middle East, possibility of good condition entirely for the Middle East, for Russia, for China, for so on. I assure you, I have already brands who have come to me and we are signing the agreement to do products for them for Middle East, Russia, China, and this has already happened. This is why I'm mentioning it, because when it happened, I said, oh yes, gosh, I hadn't seen that coming. It's really happening, because some of the brands, they say, you do a good job, so let's continue, let's make it bigger, okay? So the main objective of this workshop was to say to the brand owners, and I hope that they will watch this video, that this is really happening. There is really a conditioning site of good quality present in the Middle East, in a free zone, that can deliver goods and put the goods available in Dubai for the owners to then sell them to whomever they want in that region and increase your profits and speed and so on. This is why this workshop is just to explain what had happened and just to say, okay, if it's too difficult to do it just for one market, let's think about it. Maybe you can do it for many markets, and maybe you can all gain in this hurdle, obligation, whatever you want to call it, which has become today an opportunity. Even for me, it struck me now. At the beginning when I was doing it, I was just doing that to save my own distribution. I was not even looking into making profit in the conditioning side. I just wanted to keep my distribution alive. But today that it has happened and the results is there, I'm saying, okay, it's an opportunity for me and for the brands to take, maybe, and to increase your profits. So just think about it. Thank you very much.